The URC never stands still. Just when you think you know the teams, the summer transfers come in and shake everything up. But what do these transfers actually mean for fantasy rugby? In this video, we're diving deep into the biggest URC transfers, who's coming in, who's going out, and what it all means for your fantasy rugby squad this season. From blockbuster international signings to underrated gems flying under the radar, we'll be breaking it down team by team, looking at fantasy relevance, breakout candidates, and possible traps to avoid. Whether you're a seasoned URC fantasy manager or new to the game, this is your essential transfer guide to get ahead of the competition before the season kicks off. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because you don't want to miss any of the key insights that could shape your entire fantasy season. Also, before we get into the transfers, a quick note that all of these transfers are correct as of August the 1st, 2025. So if there have been more recent transfers, they won't be on here, but I'll try and keep it updated in the comments. We'll run through all the teams in alphabetical order. So kicking things off with Benetton. Benetton has raided local team Moliano during the off-season with no less than 6 players coming in from the Treviso side, including Giuliano Avaca and Federico Zanandrea. They've also added genuine talent to their scrum with Soatala for Arso coming in from Perpignan. Heading out the door are some big names, including Juan Ignacio Brix, Tola Halafi and Augustin Creevy. In addition, today it was also announced that Thomas Albanors is moving to Toulon, another massive loss for Benetton. The most exciting move to Benetton in the off-season is the hard-carrying back rower Soatalo for Asso. Coming in from Perpignan, the move to Benetton should see the big ex-London Irish back rower gain some big game time and watch out for his massive carries in the loose. Next up are the Bulls, who've made a handful of changes but arguably had the biggest move of the off-season coming in. Heading into Loftus Versfeld is the double Rugby World Cup winning fly half Andre Pollard from the Leicester Tigers. Also coming in is Nico Jansi van Rensburg, Jan Serfontein, Paul de Vet and Marvin Orri, and moving off are Bernard van der Linde and Tieleman Nierwoud. The one to watch has to be Andre Pollard. After 6 years away, he returns to the Bulls as their starting 10. A class operator and an elite kicker, Pollard is as reliable an option as you can select. Next to Cardiff, who have boosted their squad nicely with the incoming Johan Lloyd, Tane Basham, Javan Sebastian, Sam Wainwright and George Knott. Heading the other way are Thomas Young, Tinas de Beer, Gabriel Hamer-Webb, Ray Lilo, and also Mackenzie Martin out on a season-long loan. Cardiff's fantasy one to watch has to be Johan Lloyd. The Wales international was the top scoring fly half in the Super Brew fantasy game last year on URC, courtesy primarily of his kicking points, but also down to his elusive running and his defenders beaten. Lloyd is an outstanding attacking option who always delivers for his fantasy managers. Onwards to Connacht, who have made quite a few outgoings and one major addition. Coming in is the highly versatile Kiwi Sam Gilbert coming in from the Highlanders, while heading out some big names including Piers O'Connor, Santi Cordero and JJ Hanrahan, as well as Andrew Smith and Connor Oliver. Sam Gilbert is an excellent signing and highly fantasy relevant. Exceptionally versatile, Gilbert has played in Super Rugby at fullback, wing, centre and fly half, and he's got an excellent kicking record as well as a good try scoring history with 5 tries last season in Super Rugby despite playing second fiddle for most of the season. This is a great opportunity for him to make a first team shirt his own, and it will be very interesting to see what position he'll be categorised in Super Brew. After a dire 24-25 season, the Dragons have invested heavily with no less than 15 new players coming in for the 25-26 season. Some of the highlights on the screen at the moment include Wales internationals, Thomas Young, Wyn Jones, Dylan Jones, Seb Davies and young talent Mackenzie Martin, as well as other experienced operators like Tinas de Beer, Fine Anisi and Fatuli Pierre, amongst many others. Heading out include the retiring Dan Lydiot, as well as Tane Basham, Ashton Hewitt, Lloyd Evans and George Knott. My one to watch is the exciting young talent at number 8, Mackenzie Martin. The 21-year-old, who was fast-tracked into the Wales team for 5 international caps, joins the Dragons on a season-long loan and will be looking to gain some significant game time this season. An explosive carrier, he has the potential to go big when it comes to fantasy points. Next to Edinburgh, who've had some big ins and outs in the off-season. Coming in as a Scottish international hooker, Dylan Richardson, as well as Piers O'Connor from Connacht and Callum Hunter-Hill, amongst several others. Heading out the door are several big names, including Jamie Ritchie, Ali Price, Emiliano Buffelli, Dave Cherry, Matt Scott and Mark Bennett. My one to watch from Edinburgh's new signing is a familiar face in the URC, It's Piers O'Connor from Connacht. O'Connor is another highly versatile option, comfortable playing centre, wing and fullback. He was a solid fancy option in the URC in 24-25 with 3 tries, 723 metres carried, 32 defenders beaten, 19 line breaks, and should go well in the Edinburgh midfield. Glasgow looked to have taken a bit of a backward step over the summer with some big losses and only a handful of new signings. In comes Alex Craig from the Scarlets, Charlie Savala from Saints, Dan Lancaster from Racing, and Tavi Tuipulotu from the Waratahs. Tom Jordan's exit is a huge loss, but they've also lost out on Sebastian Cancellieri, Facundo Cordero, Jack Mann and Henko Venter. My one to watch is Glasgow's Scottish qualified fly half Charlie Savala. Heading back to Scotland after 2 years at Northampton, Savala could be a strong option to try and fill the huge Tom Jordan-shaped hole in the Glasgow backline. Next to the champions Leinster, who apart from some academy promotions, only have one incoming transfer, albeit a massive name, with Rico Ioane coming in on a short-term deal like Geordie Barrett last season. Heading out are the aforementioned Barrett, as well as Lee Barron, Cian Healy, Ross Byrne, Liam Turner and Rob Russell, amongst others. Looking further at their one new signing, All Blacks international Rico Ioane. It's hard to believe, but the 81 cap international Ioane is still only 28 years old and is in his peak years. He'll be linking up for Leinster from December to June, and when he joins, you can expect a try-scoring threat who could play outside centre or on the wing. He's got the ability to make a huge fancy impact when he joins. Onwards to the Lions, who've had a quiet window so far in terms of ins and outs. In comes Edwin Cater from the Sharks, Angelo Davids from the Stormers, as well as Dylan Schoblom and Chris Smith. They've had 2 departures who'd be both big losses in Edville van der Merwe to the Sharks and Marius Lowe to Sale. My one to watch from the Lions' new signings is the lightning quick Angelo Davids. With Edville van der Merwe on his way out, there's a gap in the Lions' back 3 that could be filled by Davids. A try machine at Sevens level, he's had a solid but unspectacular 15s career, and this could be the catalyst for him to really kick on in the 15-man game. Munster have boosted their squad with some low-key but shrewd signings, including Lee Barron and Michael Milne from Munster, Dan Kelly from Leicester, and JJ Hanrahan and Andrew Smith from Connacht. They also say goodbye to some retiring club legends in Peter O'Mahony, Conor Murray and Dave Kilcoyne, and also heading out the door are Billy Burns, Scott Buckley, Rory Skinnell and Patrick Campbell. My one to watch is Dan Kelly. Since picking up his only England cap in 2021, his career has slowed down a bit, only making 5 starts in the Prem last season. This move could be just what he needs to rekindle his rise, considering he's just 24 years old. A great all-rounder in attack and defence, he could make a big impact in the Munster backline. On to the Ospreys, who've boosted their squad with the additions of Australia A international Ryan Smith, Wales international Ross Moriarty, as well as Effan Daniel and Harry Williams. Heading out is the retiring Justin Tipperick, as well as Adam Beard, Owen Williams, George McGuigan and Tristan Davis. My one to watch is Ryan Smith. The Australian second rower arrives from the Reds and is an excellent option both in attack and defence. He's had a great try-scoring record for a second row, but he's also a good fancy point scorer with a high tackle volume and an excellent line-out record. Next up are the Scarlets, who have had a few notable ins and outs. Heading in are Joe Hawkins from Exeter, Dane Blacker returns to the Scarlets from Dragons, as well as Jake Ball, Johan Jones and Tristan Davies. Heading out is Johan Lloyd to Cardiff, who will be a big loss. Also Alex Craig, Vea Fafita, Charlie Titcombe and Sam Wainwright. My one to watch for the Scarlets is the returning Dane Blacker. With the brilliant Gareth Davis inching closer to the end of his career, the Scarlets are looking for alternative options at 9, and Dane Blacker could well be the man to step into those boots. He's had a great try-scoring record throughout his career and could well match Gareth Davis's fancy output. Definitely one to watch. The Sharks have been slightly less active with their transfers, but have brought in one big name with the talented Edville van der Merwe coming in from the Lions. They've also got 4 departures with Dylan Richardson, James Venter, Edwin Cater and Mchunu heading out. Looking at the Sharks' only signing, Edville van der Merwe, he's definitely a fancy relevant option. A prolific try scorer at the Lions and a fully fledged Springbok, he will add real competition for places in the Sharks' back line. Good for tries, defenders beaten and metres carried, he's definitely going to be one to watch for next season. To the Stormers, who see some big names coming and going, although it definitely looks like those heading out will outweigh those coming in. In comes fancy legend Kobus Reinach, as well as Ruan Ackerman, Enter Tuku Machinu and Henkus van Wyk, and heading out are Herschel Janchis, Brock Harris, Ben Loader, Joseph Dweber, Paul De Vet, Angelo Davis and Manny Lebok. My one to watch is none other than Cobus Reinach. Now 35 and probably past his peak, he's still unbelievably rapid, and when he plays he will definitely make a fantasy impact. Playing for a South African club for the first time since 2017, he'll definitely be one to monitor for your fantasy team. Ulster have strengthened well with a couple of huge signings coming in, with Ioannou Augustus coming in from Northampton and Angus Bell coming in from the Waratahs on a short-term deal later this season. In addition, they've added Sam Crean from Saracens and Rory Maguire from Leinster. Heading out are quite a few, including club stalwart John Cooney, as well as Kieran Treadwell, Matty Rare and Aidan Morgan. Their top fantasy signing has to be Trocky Augustus. Absolute box office when it comes to fantasy. He makes huge carries, regularly gets on the try sheet and always racks up a high volume of tackles. His 24-25 stats at Northampton were hugely impressive, even with impacted game time, and he will be a mainstay of many fantasy teams this season. Zebre have a lot of ins and outs, but they are notably losing a lot of experience and have largely added promising young talent who will be new to this standard rugby. In comes Marco Zanon, Samuele Locatelli, Alessandro Ortombina, Francesco Ruffalo, and the best name in rugby, Albert Einstein Batista, amongst many others, and those leaving include Danilo Fischetti, Geronimo Prisciantelli, Andrea Zamanin, Luca Bigi, Scott Gregory and Patchouli Peya. One to watch this season will be Marco Zanon, with plenty of international experience, but only 6 appearances in the URC last season to his name. Zanon will be looking to make the most of this move and be looking to make the 12 shirt of Zebre his own. A decent attacker with rock solid defence, this could be the season that he really pushes on. So there you have it, all the key transfers in the URC this summer and the fantasy players that you need to be keeping your eye on, whether it's established stars returning home, exciting new signings looking to make an impact, or young breakout candidates ready to explode onto the scene. This season promises plenty of fantasy drama. If you found this guide useful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more in-depth previews, tips and insider insights throughout the URC season and beyond. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so that you never miss an update. Got a favourite signing or transfer that you think could be a game changer? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you're thinking and who you're backing this year. So thanks for watching, good luck with your pre-season tinkering, and I'll see you in the next video.